Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's an honor and a pleasure to be with you again today, where we are inspiring hope. My first guest today inspires hope, Dr. Josephine Harris. Her mantra is very simple. She is inherently committed to emboldening women, particularly military spouses, facilitating for them all an opportunity of hope. And later in the show, we're going to talk to her a little bit more about how she does that. Dr. Josephine Harris, modern day superheroes, she says, are not the ones that we familiarize with motion pictures, but rather the quintessential professionals gifted with a sharp sense of servant leadership, willing to show up greatly in the lives of those who need it most. Yielded to this profound ethic is the multifaceted advocate, Dr. Josephine Harris. She's a military spouse and a mental health expert, a psychotherapist, and a certified master mental health and wellness coach, and an advocate and 4 times international best-selling author and 12 times Amazon best-selling author, global speaker, philanthropist, serial entrepreneur, and regional vice president of the Herpreneur Network and founder of Calming Minds LLC. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much, Cornelia, for having me here. I really appreciate it.
My goodness, you have quite the stars behind you. Not to say that they're not in front of you, but you certainly have achieved a lot of your accomplishments with what your passions are and with what your leadership is and what you're inspired to do, being best-selling author and all the wonderful things that you've created. What got you started on this journey?
Wow. Let me tell you, being in this journey and being that I am a mental health professional, as a military spouse, we located in different areas. So we, as military spouses, it's difficult for us to have a one set job. So we have to move around and change our credential. We have to get relicensed in every state we go in. So the thing that got me on this journey is dealing with me as a whole person and what I went through and my mental health challenges as a military spouse, like depression. Sometimes I was felt unworthy of going through a journey as a military spouse because we are so hidden behind our social members' career that we lose our self-identity along the way.
Yes. Yes. And so that brings up a lot of who are you? What's meaningful to you? Who are you? What's meaningful to you? And where do you stand and how can you contribute?
Wow, who am I? I am, let me tell you, I am a mental health expert, the coach, the author, the philanthropist. And one of the things I stand for is the mental health. Mental health matters. Your mental health really matters. In order for you to be on a well, healthy journey, we have to look at our mental health. Look at it as like we go to the doctor for if our bones is broken, we go to the doctor if we have a headache, but we never think about mental health, going to get professional help as a person, especially a person of color. We have that stigma on dealing with our mental health. Mm-hmm. So that really brings me into dealing with mental health, and I'm very passionate about mental health.
So, under the category of mental health, what are we talking about? We're talking about depression. We're talking about self-identity crisis, unworthiness, not knowing where you fit in. Those type of challenges.
Yes, talking about depression, self-identity, not knowing where you fit in. We talk about anxiety because sometimes as a military spouse going through different mental health challenges, we come up with we come up with that fear of getting out there, that fear of becoming our own instead of living behind the soldier member. So we have that fear come up on us, which causes depression, which causes anxiety, which along the way we losing our self-identities because we as military spouses pick up the identity of our husband. Like when we go in public, they always say the soldier member or the wife of Sergeant so and so, the wife of Sergeant Harris, the corporal of Sergeant so and so. So we tend to put that in our mind of we are the wife of soldier member, but we need to have our self identity like as we are presented in this world as a name. Like I'm Dr. Josephine, but they call me Dr. Joe. Like this boy say, "Hey, Dr. Joe," not "Hey, Doctor." Hey, soldier member wife, or something like that. So we go through these challenges in our life to lose our self-identity. So what I teach is them how to overcome obstacles and challenges like that.
Right. So what do you have? You have like meetings that where people come to your gatherings. How do you do that?
Yes, good question. Good question. I do one-on-one coaching as well as one-on group coaching. So, and I also do webinars where I talk about self-identity, where I presented them with different principles of tools and resources that include like give them self-direction, and I present them with different principle of recovery, independency, self-sufficiency, and promotes personal and professional growth so that they can have that self-control over who they are and who they are.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I'm curious too, how long have you been married?
We've been married for 11 years.
Okay, so you've been married for 11 years. So you were Dr. Joe before you got married.
No, I wasn't.
Okay. Okay, so I'm wrong about that because I thought maybe you were Dr. Joe before you got married. But were you already on your path of personal development and all of the things that you had done, writing your books and doing all the things? Were you already on that path before you got married, or did all that come as a package?
All that comes as a package. I was not on that journey before I got married. Let me tell you, I was on after getting I went through before I got married, before I met my husband, I went through domestic emotional violence situation. So it wasn't really physical emotion, but it was mentally and verbal abuse. So I went through that as a journey in my journey, and I had to redefine who I was
Mm.
along the way. So when I met my husband, he was one of the ones that God sent my way to really open up and start beginning to trust men again. So
Mm.
along that journey, I became doctor. He helped gear me towards that way, helped build that trust back in me and for me to trust him. So when I met him, I was very fragile. So I was in a way, a very fragile way, getting out of a relationship that was abusive and trying to reconnect with the world.
Yeah, so you were really vulnerable, and there was this man that wanted to love you,
Yeah.
and you were scared and frightened to open your heart again because of the toxic relationship that you just left behind,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, 11 years ago, you got married, and then you started building your own uh, empire,
Hmm.
which with your work, with everything that you're doing, because you are in a thriving environment, in a thriving relationship with your husband, a loving relationship that supports your empowerment,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
There's no holdback, and there's no putting you in your place, so to speak.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's so cool. It's wonderful that you're doing that. You're empowering, emboldening women, emboldening the military spouses to, have what it is that you have. Because really, how is your life?
Wow, my life now is blessed, fabulous, and wonderful. I have the most wonderful husband, supportive husband, and he's been supportive through my whole career as I redefine who I am. So he's traveled with me, and it's been wonderful. And let me tell you, when I say I am truly, truly blessed, I am truly, truly blessed. He helped me through a lot of difficult time in my life, and we help each other. So being a military spouse inspired me to help other women overcome a lot of obstacles they go through.
Yeah, I just think that's wonderful what you're doing. And I always love hearing when there's a couple that's united, that has the support in the relationship for each person to be who it is that they came to be, and that there's no pushback or limiting, toxic abuse or anything like that going on. It's wonderful. And then we get to share that gift with others. So, how can people look you up on social media and learn more about what it is that you do?
Let me tell you, I'm all social media as Dr. Joe Harris. On LinkedIn is Dr. Josephine Harris. And I have also a blog called Healthy Minds and Hearts where I talk about my mental health journey and I give resources to other women and military spouses. You can also connect with me on Common Mind. My website is www.commonmindsllc.com.
Excellent. Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show today and shared your wonderful life journey here with our audience. What are some final words that you want to leave with us today?
Let me tell you, one of the things I want to leave with you is you have to look at it like this. Every day is another chance to change your direction and believe in the impossibilities.
Yes, yes. And thank you so much for spreading that beautiful message of hope, and then offering hope to all the people that you engage with and that come across your path. We thank you so much for coming on the show today. We bless you and wish you many good wishes. We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie show, and we'll be right back. Thanks, Dr. Joe. Welcome back to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope. And our next guest is exactly that. Jessica Baladad is a 4-year cancer survivor who became a passionate advocate after a practitioner dismissed a malignant lump in her breast during a clinical exam. Thankfully, Jessica learned how to do a self breast exam after having a benign tumor removed while she was in college. And it was a routine she maintained throughout adulthood, the routine of self breast exams. 2 weeks after her clinical appointment, Jessica was doing a self exam in the shower when she found a lump, the same lump her practitioner failed to tell her about and documented as normal. Jessica was later diagnosed with stage 2B invasive ductal carcinoma. She underwent 16 rounds of chemotherapy, a double mastectomy, 24 rounds of radiation and hysterectomy, and a 10-hour flap reconstruction. She started Feel for Your Life as a social media outreach project to encourage women to be their breast health advocates. And in 2021, Jessica became the first breast cancer survivor to create an app that provides resources for doing self breast exams and getting screened, allows users to track and monitor their changes, and lets users set reminders for doing self exams. Since launching the app, she's helped write legislation in the state of Tennessee to promote risk reducing measures against cancer and disease. Billed as the Feel for Your Life Act, it requires high school students to learn about self breast exams, testicular exams, and skin exams. In 2022, Jessica created the Breast Method, an online module created to teach other advocates her tips, tricks, and secrets for negotiating medical bills, disputing insurance denials, and navigating the American healthcare system. Oh my God. Welcome to the show, is all I can say.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm very glad to be here today.
So we were talking in the green room before you came on. I was asking you, how are you feeling today? And what did you say?
I'm feeling great. I just had what I hope is my last surgery related to breast cancer, and I've been back in the gym a few weeks now, and I'm feeling awesome.
So, do you feel that with everything that you went through, because there were many, many hard times and many scary situations that you found yourself in, and just really, fatigued? I mean, no energy, I'm sure, with all the radiation and everything that you've gone through, all the different things that you've created now to turn your pain into purpose. I mean, really, it's like, was that part of your self healing as well?
I kind of found myself in a place where I did not expect to gain so much from a disease that took so much from me. At first, I actually hid my diagnosis. I didn't want to scare anyone, freak out anyone. I'm the fourth generation on my dad's side of the family to have breast cancer, and I've seen, things happen to my family where people turn against them, mostly, their friends, and our family always rallied around them. But I just found a calling through cancer that I never would have discovered if I wasn't diagnosed with the disease. And, just, creating the app, the legislation, the breast method, teaching people how to advocate for themselves and negotiate their medical bills. I never would have done that if I wasn't diagnosed.
Yes, and so now you're even your app. Let's tell the audience right away where they can get the app. So is it Apple Play, Google?
Yep, if you go to the Google Play Store or the App Store, it's available there, or at feelforyourlife.com.
At feelforyourlife.com. That's really cool. And what's the app called in the Apple Store?
It's actually called Feel for Your Life.
Okay, Feel for Your Life. And
Mhm.
so now tell us a little bit about that app.
So, whenever I was diagnosed, I found my lump by doing a self exam. And while I was going through chemotherapy, and I made the brave decision to tell my friends that I had been diagnosed with breast cancer. I decided I wasn't going to hide under a rock. So I told everyone, hey, by the way, if you see this bald girl walking around, it's because I have breast cancer, but I'm doing okay. so, but when I came out and shared that information, what I realized is that my vulnerability connected with other people. And they said, well, how did you know to even, get diagnosed with breast cancer? And I said, well, I do my self exams every month. You're doing yours, right? And it was crickets. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a problem. So, and I discovered there are three reasons that women weren't doing their self exams. They didn't know how, they weren't comfortable with their bodies, and they were afraid of finding something and not sure what to do next. So during the pandemic, I decided to, while my friends were baking bread and collecting plants, I'm like, this is my chance to learn app development. I want to get this out to as many women as possible. So I created an app that shows you how to do a self exam, when to get screened. I talk about genetics, and other advocacy tools are in the app to show you. And I thought, okay, well, you need to set a reminder so that you don't forget to do it every month. And then as you're doing your exams, I thought, well, you need to track and monitor your progress. So if there are changes, you can report them to your doctor. So I wanted to create an app that could do all of those things and help women in their advocacy journey.
I think this is so great. And even starting with young women, like even, teenagers, to make them aware of already getting started with the self breast exam.
Yeah, so, teenagers are very aware of their bodies. So why not teach them how to take care of themselves as they go into adulthood? And that's how I came up with the Feel for Your Life Act. I reached out to a local representative who represents the district where I live, and I said, hey, I'd really like to get the ball rolling on this. What can we do? And he got back to me. He said, this is pretty amazing. Will you meet with me in my office? Long story short, we drafted a bill called the Feel for Your Life Act. It would require high school students to learn about self breast exams, testicular exams, and skin exams at the high school level.
Yeah, I mean, how does that all feel to you? Like what you've created and how easy and open the doors have been. It seems like it wasn't, a lot of it just was right there and everything was supported.
Yeah, what people want to have these conversations. Where I'm from, body sexuality is just kind of a hush hush, don't talk about it, cover up, mind your manners, that sort of thing, be ladylike. It's not, that's the Southern manners. So, but what I discovered is that just because people aren't having the conversations openly doesn't mean they don't want to. And they're having them privately. And so, by me sharing my story, and even in some instances I've overshared, people want to connect with that so that they can protect themselves as well.
Yes. So let's tell everyone right now while they're listening how they can get in contact with you on social media and connect with you.
Sure, you can go to Instagram. I'm Feel for Your Life, just one word. Uh, eh, Facebook, same thing, facebook.com/Feel for Your Life, and TikTok, Feel for Your Life.
So that's your brand.
Yes, yeah, part of the reason, the way I came up with the name is I was in the shower and I saw that my life was literally falling down the drain as I was losing my shower is where I would feel myself, feel for your life. It just came to me, got out of the shower, reserved all of the handles and the URL, and it was just meant to be.
So
Yeah.
what were you doing? What were you doing prior to becoming an entrepreneur and a creator and doing all the things that you're doing now? What were you doing before? I'm curious.
Yeah, I was in marketing and journalism. I had worked for a few newspapers and other publications across the country. I was in marketing, actually helping startups and other entrepreneurs. I worked in psychology for a big name in psychology. He had a show, and I helped produce that and created resources and content for him. And I just basically took everything that I've learned and cancer just opened so many doors for me to present my experience to save lives.
Wow. Cancer opens so many doors. That's pretty profound right there. How you really turned that whole experience around and how you're not a victim of it, but that you're so because I can feel your passion, I can feel your excitement about how excited you are about what you're doing and sharing. So do you receive good response from people about the messages you put out, the content you're creating, and your resources that you have available?
Absolutely, because sharing my experience, it started with medical gaslighting. A practitioner ignored a lump in my breast. And I know so many women who get ignored. Oh, it's just stress. It's just hormones. It's just your period. It's just this or that. Drink water, cut out caffeine. Maybe you should just lose a little weight. And while some of those things can contribute to health issues, it's not the only reason. And so I want women to feel seen, heard, and understood. So whenever I think about talking about Feel for Your Life and the things that I'm doing and helping people advocate for themselves, it just really ignites a fire in me.
I can tell. I can tell. I can see Feel for Your Life t-shirts and Feel for
Mhm.
Your Life book and a Feel for Your Life ball caps, all
Yeah,
kinds of things, right?
absolutely. Yeah, just kind of like the sweater I'm wearing. It says, Feel for Your Life, and it's showing a self breast exam. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's really good. Making self breast exams normal and everyday self-care habit.
absolutely.
Yeah. So what else do you want for 2023? What's your vision moving forward?
I am showing women, how to understand their insurance, how to navigate, bills, the medical care system, how to not overpay. I got refunds that came back to me during my cancer diagnosis, and just really kind of navigating the complexities of the American healthcare system so that they understand it better and don't feel threatened or intimidated by it.
Yeah, that's really important. I'm so glad that you've got the systems in place with everything that needs to happen for each woman to take better care of their own exams. You've got all those systems in place and now you're really focusing on the financial aspects. You've also, connected with your local community and started putting a bill into legislation there, and you've got the support from people around you. So well done, you. Thank you so much for coming on the show today and inspiring hope, inspiring all of us to take better care of our breasts, of our health, and our well-being. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and courageous and sharing your story. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in to today's episode, Stories of Hope. We'll see you next time. Take good care, everyone. Bye-bye. You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.